What does it have to do with me? Dustin shrugged. There was no way he would admit to it. Really? Dahlia glanced at Dustin. Instead of asking more, she took out a name card and handed it to him. You look like a talented man to me. You shouldn't waste your talent being an insurance agent. You can come to work at my company if you're interested. Everyone was surprised at her words. Evan and a few guys were jealous. Damn it. What did this brat have to deserve the attention of the Ice Princess? Even Aelina, a prominent individual of the Forest family, had to flatter her. Thank you, Ms. Nicholson. But that won't be necessary. Dustin shook his head without taking the name card. What? Dahlia raised her eyebrow, surprised. Are you sure you don't want to think about it? There were only a few people who would reject her offer. Dustin not only rejected it altogether, he didn't even hesitate. No, thank you. Being an insurance agent is pretty good. I won't adapt to a corporate lifestyle. Dustin declined again. Hey, do you know how many people are dying to get into Ms. Nicholson's company? She's giving you a chance, don't be ungrateful. Aelina said arrogantly. As Sir Mosey's goddaughter, even the aristocrats in Oakvale had to show Dahlia respect. How dare an insurance agent decline her offer? He was disrespectful. Why don't you take the offer instead? I don't need it. Dustin glanced at her coldly. You. Aelina was about to retort when Dahlia raised her hand to stop her. Forget about it. Since he refused, I won't force him. I'll be off first. Dahlia left after saying that. She wasn't the kind of person who took the initiative to speak up, and compromising was simply out of the question. In reality, she had only extended the offer out of curiosity. HMPH. You're as stubborn as a mule. You'll regret it sooner or later. Aelina glared at Dustin before leaving with Dahlia. You actually refused a benefactor willing to be your mentor. I can't tell if you're self-aware or just an idiot, Vivian said sarcastically. Great opportunities don't come by often. You've missed out on a chance of becoming successful, Evan sneered, looking at Dustin like he was a fool. Dahlia had personally extended an invitation, while others could never receive that kind of treatment, even if they begged. This brat declined repeatedly. What a fool. All right, let's not talk about that anymore. I'm getting hungry. Let's go back and get some food. Sheila mediated the situation. She was happy that Dustin didn't fall for a beautiful woman. Although she was beautiful too, she was incomparable to an exquisite beauty like Dahlia. That was why she was satisfied with the outcome. After leaving the horse ranch, they went back to the Murray residence. However, as soon as they walked through the doors, a middle-aged man blocked their path. The man had a muscular physique and a commanding presence. He exuded an oppressive aura just by standing there. This man was the current head of the Murrays, Edgar Murray. Uncle Edgar. Sheila's smile faltered. Growing up, she had always felt intimidated by her uncle who rarely smiled or spoke. Where did all of you go earlier? Edgar spoke sternly with his hands behind his back. We went to the horse ranch. Why? Sheila responded. So you had something to do with Roxanne getting hurt? Edgar questioned. That was an accident. It had nothing to do with us. Sheila shook her head. An accident? Edgar scoffed. Midnight Shadow is well trained. Why would it hurt its owner? You must have done something. We really didn't, Uncle Edgar. Roxanne did it to herself. Sheila tried to explain. Shut up. Edgar glared at her and roared. I'm the head of this family, and I say you did it. That's final. How dare you harm my daughter? You have committed a grave offense. Apprehend all of them. Anyone who resists will be shot dead on the spot. Following the order, a large number of armed soldiers rushed in from both sides, surrounding the group. Right away, the atmosphere grew tense. Uncle Edgar, these are my friends. What are you doing? Sheila was shocked and stood before her friends with her arms wide open. HMPH, they're nothing but a bunch of troublemakers. Just one look and you could tell that they're bad influences. Now, step aside. Edgar roared. No, they're innocent. You can't hurt them. Sheila reasoned. Mr. Murray, we didn't do anything. This is a misunderstanding. Vivian hastily explained. That's right. It was an accident that Roxanne got hurt. It has nothing to do with us. The group was panicking. Edgar was a very decisive man and held authority within the family. It would only lead to trouble if they were to be apprehended by him. Even if they escaped death, they would probably still be tortured. Still trying to argue your way out? If it wasn't for your schemes, How would Midnight Shadow have suddenly gone berserk? Do you think I'm stupid? Edgar bellowed. Based on the information he received earlier, he found two aspects of the matter suspicious. Firstly, Midnight Shadow was a thoroughbred. How could it have lost to a pony? Secondly, Midnight Shadow was well trained and never misbehaved. It was suspicious that it suddenly attacked its rider. Wait, Sir Edgar, if someone is behind this, it must have been him. Suddenly, Evan pointed at Dustin and protested. He was the one who competed with Roxanne. He even won. He's the most suspicious. That's right. I found it strange at the time. Now that I think about it, this guy is indeed suspicious. He must have planned it to harm Roxanne. Vivian echoed. Sir Edgar, you must apprehend him. It has nothing to do with us. The crowd panicked. The truth wasn't important at a time like this. It was much more important to make sure they weren't implicated. That way, they could avoid any punishment they were bound to receive. You. Edgar's icy gaze landed on Dustin. Were you the one who won against my daughter in the horse race? I did win, but your daughter getting hurt had nothing to do with me. She inflicted it upon herself, Dustin answered impassively. He did pull a few tricks to get Midnight Shadow to stall, but he never hurt anyone intentionally. Roxanne was the only one to blame for her temper. Her beatings had provoked Midnight Shadow. She inflicted it upon herself. Edgar's expression darkened. He smirked. Bravo, well done. It was indeed your doing. Men, seize this young man and subject him to severe torture. Yes, sir. Four armed soldiers stepped forward with their guns, ready to apprehend Dustin. Stop right there. Don't come any closer. Sheila suddenly took out a knife and stood in front of Dustin. She yelled, if any of you does anything, I won't hold back. The four soldiers exchanged glances. They were hesitant to step forward. Sheila was Christopher's favorite granddaughter and had a high standing within the family. You insolent woman. Edgar glared at her. Sheila Murray, you sure are bold. How dare the culprit? You defend Dustin is not the culprit. You can't just apprehend him without evidence. Sheila tried to argue. Evidence? Ha! My word is evidence enough. Edgar asserted dominantly. He'll confess soon enough after a round of torture. Now, step aside. No, Sheila was stubborn. You impudent woman. Edgar flew into a rage and slapped her across the face. Sheila stumbled from the force of the hit, and soon her face swelled. What? Dustin frowned at what he witnessed. He never expected Edgar to be that unreasonable. How could he hit his niece without first finding out the truth? Move, otherwise I'll take you in too. Edgar had a dark, hostile expression. I won't. Sheila bit her lips, not moving. You. Edgar raised his arm, about to strike her again, when Dustin grabbed him. He said coldly, try that again, and I'll break your arm. You impudent bastard. Let go of Sir Edgar. The soldiers advanced toward them, their fiery stares fixated on Dustin and their gun aimed at him. Stop it right there. Suddenly, someone roared from the outside. Everyone turned to look to see a middle-aged man with a heroic appearance rush in with a beautiful lady. It was Sheila's parents, Caden Murray and Lily Doyle. Edgar, what exactly did Sheila do that you have to point a gun at her? Caden questioned coldly. He saw that slap as clear as day. Caden, Roxanne was harmed and is still lying at the hospital. I'm just trying to track down the culprit, Edgar stated firmly. Are you implying that Sheila is the culprit? Caden asked with narrowed eyes. Sheila may not be the culprit, but her friends will not escape suspicion, especially this brat. Edgar pointed at Dustin. It's you? Caden looked over and frowned. They had a prior clash over the Gozerberry back in Swinton, and for some reason, his father had stripped him of his position as head of the family after that incident. That was why he hated Dustin. Do you know him, Caden? Edgar gave Dustin the once-over. I've met him once. I wouldn't say I know him. Caden said passively. Edgar, father will be back soon. If he sees you making such a fuss, he might blame you. If you trust me, leave this matter to me. If someone planned this, I will find the culprit and avenge Roxanne. As he spoke, he glanced at Dustin. Edgar hesitated for a moment before finally agreeing. Fine, I'll let you have your way and let them go today. But you'd better give me a proper explanation afterward. No problem. Caden nodded. Dismiss. With a wave, Edgar left with his army in haste. Although he didn't care about Caden, He had to respect his father. He didn't dare escalate the situation. Lily, take Sheila and her friends to rest. I would like to speak with Dustin, Caden signaled his wife. Sheila, no need to worry. They're just going to talk. Lily smiled in reassurance before leading them out. Brat, what are you aiming for approaching my daughter? After everyone left, Caden went straight to the point. You have misunderstood. I'm just friends with Sheila, Dustin said impassively. Just friends? Caden snorted. If you're just friends, why did Sheila defend you so strongly? Sheila has a kind personality. Is there a problem with her standing up for a friend? Dustin countered. Brat, don't think I don't know what you're up to. Caden looked serious, saying, I've seen many of your kind. Aren't you just finding an opportunity to climb up the social ranks? Honestly, you're not worthy. If you had any sense, you'd stay away from my daughter. Even though I saved you earlier, I can destroy you just as easily. Mr. Caden, are you threatening me? Dustin's smile disappeared after hearing those harsh words. From the start, he had been displeased with Caden. He disliked that he was untrustworthy and never stayed faithful to his promises. It's a warning if you heed my advice. It's a threat if you don't, Caden admitted without reservations. Let me repeat myself. Sheila and I are just friends. I've never had ulterior motives. It's best that we don't interfere in each other's business. Dustin stated calmly. Brat, it seems like you still don't get it. Caden's expression was frosty. What makes an utterly worthless character like you think? That you are worthy of being friends with my daughter? Please take a look in the mirror and have a clear look at yourself. The Murray family is not a place for opportunistic freeloaders like yourself. What was once a threat had now turned into a blatant insult. Caden Murray, don't be so full of yourself. You better drop your cocky attitude. Dustin returned the sentiment. HMPH, you have quite the attitude for someone of your level. Do you think I can't deal with someone like you? An icy glint flashed through Caden's eyes. You better not try anything unless you want trouble for yourself, Dustin warned. While it wasn't in his nature to provoke others, he would respond the same when provoked. You brat, no one has ever talked to me that way. Since you are so ungrateful, don't regret when I take action. Caden bellowed with a grim expression. Men, this young man harmed Roxanne and caused her to be hospitalized. The evidence is clear. Seize him. As soon as he spoke, the armed guards standing by the door surrounded Dustin in no time. You're going to accuse me falsely. Dustin frowned. I gave you a chance, but you didn't appreciate it. It's too late now. Caden smirked. Seeing the approaching guards, Dustin waved his hand, and silver needles shot out. Following the sound of sharp whistles, the guards were left frozen to their spots. It was like they were petrified. Oh. Caden was surprised by the turn of events. You've got some skills. No wonder you're so arrogant. But it's a pity that I'm your opponent today. With that, he suddenly moved, reaching out to grab Dustin. His fingers were just like iron that emanated a black glow. It was laced with deadly poison. When he extended his claw-like fingers, it was surrounded by a swirl of dark energy and carried a chilling coldness. What? Dustin's eyes widened. As he dodged, he exclaimed, Wait, are you practicing the soul-devouring technique? What about it? You're scared already? Caden sneered. And I thought you had skills. You're just a loser who bullies the weak and fears the strong. For Sheila's sake, I don't wish to hurt you. The soul-devouring technique is a dark art. It not only harms you, but also the people around you. You'd better stop practicing it. Otherwise, you'll die a terrible death once you go to extremes. Dustin warned seriously. He didn't notice it earlier, but upon closer inspection, he can now see Caden enveloped by a deathly air. He was on the brink of death with his energy in severe imbalance. Within 3 to 5 days, the side effects of the soul-devouring technique would appear. By then, there would be unimaginable consequences. Do you think I will believe in your nonsense? You're just a coward spouting nonsense after realizing you can't win, Caden said dismissively. His cultivation had rapidly improved since he started practicing the soul-devouring technique, and he was now a semi-grandmother. No one could match his strength within the Murray family other than the eccentric old man who rarely showed himself. He was drunk on the power that he felt. Although the soul-devouring technique is powerful, it has severe side effects. This dark art drains your life force. If I guessed right, you have been experiencing nightmares and waking up sweaty. You feel chills running down your spine. and you are unusually thirsty in the middle of the night. The point is, your thirst can only be quenched by blood. The more you train in this art, the greater your bloodlust," Dustin said darkly.